Alright, so I thought I would make a video on COVID-19 and this outbreak and the quarantine because a lot of people are experiencing and feeling it. They haven't lived through anything quite like this in our generation before. Um, what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are looking at this quarantine's negatives because they're unused to isolation. If you're one of those people that live in a house with a bit domestic abuse or having trouble paying bills because the government excluded you from the quarantine check, I get it. Because home isn't the best place to be. And from what I understand, there's been a spike in those things happening. However, if you're not in this group, realize this. It is very rare that you'll get an opportunity like this with the way the world is today to bond with your family and friends and whoever you might be isolated with to this degree. Take this opportunity and free up time to spend with them and get to know each other again. Um, if you're getting that quarantine check and have been able to cut out your unnecessary expensive, I think that 1200 is plenty to live on monthly. If you only rent a room for like 700 and cut back on unnecessary expenses like gyms, which are all closed, eating out, you don't have kids, bus fares, etc. I've lived on that much in between jobs before. Especially if banks and other institutions have frozen your payments on like things like mortgages and car things, if you got lucky enough for that to happen. If you're a young nurse or doctor, take advantage of that overtime at the hospital working and invest your money. Save lives while making some intelligent monetary decisions. You're not going to get laid off during this time of all times, right? And you're more than in demand. So you can take the money you earn and put it in predictable stocks that are going to jump in the long term, like oil or other sorts of things. Very rarely do we have a dip that is this predictable and this extreme that you know we're going to recover from in America. Furthermore, with extra time you have and you save from not having to commute to work, if you are working from home, um, or you're not working and you have a sort of a stay-at-home time period, you can get to know yourself again by checking out hobbies and learning skills. Pluralsight was free for the month of April. You can get into the best shape of your life by strongly controlling your diet timings and food intake, as well as exercising. Um, Try MyFitnessPal if you want to track your food portions and nutrients. And the workouts and there's so many workouts and trainers that are doing daily workouts on Instagram. You can just pick and then follow along. I know Tyson Fury is doing a workout. F45 gyms do one periodically. Tyson Fury is pretty daily, and other trainers as well. Even in the group that I started, I'll be periodically posting workouts. Um, what stocks might you be? Should you look at oil, as I said before, and farm and healthcare? Once they start selling those vaccines for coronavirus, which they say they're coming out with, money will be made, and there will be a spike in those things, even though they've already been increased. They'll increase more. Realize that this period of time won't last forever. The world has gone through weird times before, and it's not the first, and it's always rebounded. Look at the positives in the world. If you're an environmentalist, because everyone is not driving as much, because a lot of non-mandatory businesses have been shut down, there are less greenhouse emissions. Furthermore, with the way the quarantine is being held and the masks, mandatory masks, other droplet and human contact based diseases that result from human to human contact will decrease in the long run. So it's not just, while they're just showing COVID charts and statistics of how that's reducing, other diseases that we regularly transmitted and have been around for a while that have passed from human to human are also in the decrease. So you'll have the world is become healing in a sort of a way. Now here's my thoughts on coronavirus. It's slightly negative, but I don't think it's a big deal because, as many think, because life is life, right? There's always that risk of dying. But coronavirus is from the same family as SARS, the flu, and the common cold. There hasn't been a permanent cure found for any of them. They managed to contain that and limit its spread early on. The flu, they have a vaccine for it, but it mutates every year. And the common cold, they don't even try with that. And these are all the same family. So, furthermore, um, so what makes you think if they can't cure or find permanent vaccines for other viruses from the corona family that they're going to be able to find a permanent cure for the coronavirus? The reality is it's going to be back, right? And I'll explain why later. Furthermore, a lot of time has passed, like in humanity's existence before medicine was medical standards and stuff were widely spread. In the past, when things were really bad, but we just didn't notice, the average lifespan was 30 years old. So if you got to 30, you were lucky. People get married at like in their teens, right? We artificially extended our lifespans to 70 and beyond through the use of vaccines, which are only around 300 years old and weren't required in the US until the 1800s. So that's like 200 years. That's crazy, right? Um, Furthermore, if you, and this is a positive if you're young and you're not old, if you look at who coronavirus is killing in at the stats and the age groups, the majority of people it's actually killing are people that already have conditions, who are already have chronic illnesses like high blood pressure, or they're old, they're above 60 years old. And even then, the risk of dying for them is around 10%. And they're also shooting up the average um, with good reason. There was a video on YouTube about a politician saying if a person dies and they're infected with coronavirus, even if corona wasn't the cause, they're going to mark it as the cause. And with a virus that's this contagious, it sort of makes sense. But if you aren't in that unhealthy group and you aren't old, your risk of actually dying from the disease, even if you do contract it, is probably under 1%, which I think is um, all right. Um, Furthermore, to elaborate on why I think coronavirus is going to be back, the homeless can't afford healthcare in countries that make you pay. And many people won't even think to go to the hospital if they're sick. Furthermore, the standards of uh, coronavirus, the standards of healthcare from country to country differ. So the minute they open up the borders or start up flights, people from less regulated countries that didn't get checked out are going to fly back in, and that's going to reseed um, this virus, especially something that's so contagious, right? Um, Another thing, which is another random throw in, is that at the moment, coronavirus doesn't come close to killing the number of people that die daily from poverty. Um, in fact, even with coronavirus, even though they might be sort of accurate, they're cranking up the numbers. And with regards to poverty, they're probably underestimating it because these people don't have voices and aren't heard. It's just that because this virus can affect everyone, regardless of how healthy you are and stuff, or how much you earn, or your position, I guess they're giving more attention to it. Um, we might impose quarantine worldwide, but the standards of medicine differ from country to country. Once the borders open up again, people flow between countries, plus diseases spread from person to person. So there will be a drop, and then there's going to be a rise again. I think coronavirus is here to stay. The government has been pretty strict with the masks, the lockdowns. In the Philippines, even Duarte said the cops would shoot people on the streets who didn't listen. And India, they're beating up people caught outside. Um, in hospitals are getting overrun and bodies are piling up in New York apparently. But everywhere else, it seems okay. New York has 8 times the number of deaths of every other state. Furthermore, in my case, I don't know anyone in my family or friends, fortunately, who has gotten sick or died from this. But another point is that a lot of the traffic to hospitals of non-sick people, and the reason why they're overflooded, is because of the media hysteria and fear. So people are going even though they don't have to. So like from what I understood, 19 out of 19 people, only one person will actually test positive for COVID. Um, Furthermore, historically, a lot of viruses have been far more deadly, like smallpox. I think if you had smallpox and contagious, if you had smallpox, you had a 30% chance of dying, regardless of age. Relatively, coronavirus at the moment is not that high. But remember, it's a part of the coronavirus and it mutates very fast. So I think the best measure in order to fend off getting diseases or getting hurt by these diseases is to actually be preemptive with your health, eat healthy, exercise, and more. And that's all for now. So those are my thoughts on COVID. Um, and I suggest you learn, right? I've gained like 5 pounds of muscle working out with home body workouts, even though I like going to the gym. Um, these home workouts have been going pretty well for me. So, yeah, I suggest you to do the same and make the most of it. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as people make it seem. Um, it's You just got to adapt and make the most of it. There's so many other things you can do than what you're used to when you go outside, right? So that's all for now. I hope you got something out of this. Feel free to comment. Until next time. Bye.